5 in the top line. And probably the other 10 questions I have all pertain to the same vein where it's constantly saying the city will provide the inventory report, the city shall notify the consulting parties, the city may proceed. Basically, all of these questions are saying the city will provide through that developer, or actually the developer through the city. We have to make sure it's being done, like we do for subdivisions and things like that.
Correct.
But that is going to take, administrative time and cost. That's why I was wondering, this professional consultant that the city's going to hire and select, if the developer's going to pay for it. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Why would we approve the development to the next stage if it's not already in there that they're going to pay for all this? We won't do it.
And Ron he will be under Ron's jurisdiction, or Ron will be watching the process to make sure that's being done.
Correct. Well,
Because Ron's our guy, the other guy.
Unless we appoint somebody else in that position, should the development move forward.
And, the reason I see this is because, if we were a large city, we might be able to absorb this. The city that says the city will develop specific treatment plans, stuff like this. That's going to be an expensive item. Okay, and the other questions are the same way. There's going to be a lot of administrative time here. But I just wonder, Thomas, is there anywhere we can put a cover letter on this or something that says that I made a quotation here. The city shall ensure the adequate laboratory time and space available for analysis. We're going to be paying for that space. And could this be from the consultant hired by the city and paid for by the developers? Can we put that in there somehow so that it's clear that it's not the city? Because all the requirements and responsibilities are preceded by the word "the city shall."
Well, I can go back.
I just want to make sure that our taxpayers aren't paying for a very expensive process, that's all.
Let's go to the development of Mule Road. Okay? That's right there next to the Bridges Golf Course, where they spent roughly a year doing an archaeological mitigation. They were doing a phase 3 mitigation. Mule Road.
Oh, okay.
Go up Mule Road on the right-hand side up there, right before you came down the hill to turn into the bridges. There was an archaeological dig up there. They followed every one of these standards. Every last one of them. And the city was responsible to make sure they followed that before they got permission to move forward with that development.
And that development absorbed all the costs.
Absolutely. You can ask Mr. Monk, I know it was expensive, and Mr. Hahn. It was very expensive. Alderman Overton.
And just to tag along with that, Jim, on page 6 of 13, it talks about the umbrella research design that happens with this document. And in there it says the city will direct its consultants to address questions from the umbrella research design previously developed and approved by IDOT and SHPO and standard code. So this is an umbrella contract type document that covers the area of potential effect. Now, I'm just reading black and white here. It is, so are you telling me, Mary, that it's not that type of contract?
I'm telling you, it's a programmatic agreement. And within the programmatic agreement, on page 6, section 3, paragraph B, it refers to an umbrella data recovery plan. Okay, so that means that when they come to this, they're going to have to follow the umbrella data recovery plan set forth by IDOT. There you go. That's what it is. All the rest of it.
To kind of expand on what Jim was talking about and what you were kind of talking about, the way I'm receiving, I want you to correct me if I'm wrong on this. The agreement here between these parties, which are outlined on the back, and you said they've all agreed to this, okay? And there's no contractor involved with this, so it appears that this is an agreement between the city and the other organizations within the state, the archaeological organizations, to go ahead and set forth a plan that the state has certain things that it requires for archaeological, for excavation, and that it needs someone on site, so it designates the city to carry out and make sure that its ordinances or its procedures are followed during the excavation phase. And so it seems to me that what you're doing is to go ahead and get the archaeological excavation approval process going. So in case you find a developer that wants to come in, then you go ahead and put on him whatever costs for recoupment, like engineering, attorneys, or whatever, that you can go ahead and get that back at some future date, because you have no agreement with any developer that you presently, need to worry about. So this here is just an agreement between those organizations to make sure that we are the people responsible for following those archaeological things. And if we get some costs involved and we come up with a developer, then that's where we recoup the costs. That's kind of what it sounds like to me.
You hit the nail right on the head.
If the archaeological dig doesn't even start until there's some blue guys, I don't think also.
And to even outline further what you discussed is, without this agreement, every group out there that went to develop, they would have to establish it, go through the cost, go through the time. So the time that the city would spend with each individual group out there is far more than what we're going to spend with the overall development in the area of potential effect, because of the programmatic agreement taking care of, or actually eliminating the need for separate agreements. It's one agreement that's all encompassing in the area of potential effect.
So the concerns that Jim was having about the sections in here and the costs involved and so forth and that, the costs are not about it. I mean, what you're talking about incurring that and a developer, I don't think that when you come to assigning responsibility for overseeing and recouping the costs and that, I think that's whenever you come to an agreement with the developer that, hey, you're developed on there, these are our costs and this is what we want in our agreement. This is what you're going to have to go ahead and pay to us, because that's what we spent to go ahead and get this thing moving.